Here's everything my husband and I eat as a family of 2. Today looks a little bit different though. We're having a small intimate get together with our closest friends and family for Eid. And today I'm going all out with the dishes and the dairy. You guys know I can't make anything without a little butter, cheese or cream. So let's get into it. First up, I'm making my signature wholesome chocolate cake. I'm super adventurous with food and cooking despite my eating disorder. So every time I make something, I like to tweak the recipe a bit. I'm using this full cream liquid milk from Arla this time. I just know it's gonna be great. Hot coffee because it's the secret ingredient. And I just mix up my dry ingredients with my wet ingredients. And now for the star of the show, Pook cream cheese. Last time I used mayonnaise and it was great, but I wanted to explore even further. Pook is my all-time favorite spread. Some people use sour cream, but I just know this is going to be a game changer. I popped the cake in the oven and got a move on because next up on the list was pistachio cheesecake. And for this, I'm using this decadent Lurpak butter. I'm making the base of the cheesecake, so I'm crushing some pistachio, tossed it into my ground crackers and poured in that silky smooth melted butter. The next star ingredient was this pineapple cream cheese from Arla. Nobody told me how addictive this stuff was. Then I tossed in pistachio spread, powdered sugar and poured in some whipping cream. I mixed that, poured it in my pan and left it in the freezer to set. Then hopped back on my chocolate cake because I was seriously running out of time. Next on the menu was chicken pot pie. So I'm going in with the unsalted Lurpak block butter. This is supposed to be super hard and frozen when you work with it, so you can chop it up into little cubes for the pie crust. I finished forming my dough and moved on to the next thing, which was the filling. Chopping vegetables is really not my favorite thing to do. I made my pie filling with diced chicken, diced franks, potatoes, carrots, peas, celery, and topped it off with whipping cream. Then I pulled out my pie dough from the fridge, rolled it out, went through the motions, and chucked it back in the oven. Then I moved on to the next thing, which was Chinese fried rice. I cut out a chunk of the block butter. I fry everything in butter, you guys. Tossed together my chopped vegetables for sauteing, fried the eggs right next to them, then poured over the rice and added all the necessary seasoning. As soon as I was done with the rice, next on the menu was marry me steak. Every time I make steak, it's always for my husband because he's an absolute carnivore. I sliced up my beef tenderloin into small slivers, poured over some olive oil and seasoned it with all my favorite spices, then pan-seared them in a hot cast iron pan. I honestly detest cooking meat because I feel like that's the one thing I never get right. When everything was done frying, I introduced some butter into the pan, then I tossed in garlic, onions, diced franks in place of mushrooms, some tomatoes, some herbs, and then I let everything fry up, seasoned it with only salt, added chicken broth, and then the secret ingredient, my Arla whipping cream. It's just perfect for cooking. Then I grated some mozzarella cheese over it, added the meat back in, and then topped it with cilantro. I felt like corn on the cob would be a fun little addition to the spread, so I used what was left of my butter, poured in a lot of Cajun seasoning, and then tossed in some parsley. Then I brushed the corn down with that and grilled it in the oven for 10 minutes. I barely made it to dinner, but everything turned out so amazing. Then my friends and family arrived, everyone got comfortable. My sisters helped me set up the food, and then we dug in. Having amazing food is one thing, but having amazing people around to share the food with is a different blessing entirely. As we say goodbye to Ramadan and celebrate Eid this year with our loved ones, may our lives be spared long enough for us to witness many more to come. Eid Mubarak, guys.